We're here in Amsterdam with the one and only Ronnie Moas. He just did a meet and greet with his fans, his paid subscribers. How was it, Ronnie?
It was fantastic. We got a bigger turnout here than we had when I did this in Amsterdam in January. And I'm very flattered that people go out of their way to meet with me when I travel around the world. There was one person here that came from 3 hours away from the border with Germany. He drove down here. So that's very flattering, yeah.
So you do these meet and greets actually, of course, to meet with your subscribers and fans and actually to make, I don't know, the barrier lower to meet with analysts or...
No, I just treat everyone the same way. I don't care if someone is a billionaire or if someone is washing dishes in a restaurant. Everyone is the same to me. And I have 2,800 subscribers. And my goal is eventually to speak with everyone at least one time. And it's not easy to do when you have this many subscribers, but I do travel around the world a lot. And I've done already a dozen of these in Europe, in Asia, in the United States. And, you know, right now I'm traveling around Europe for 5 weeks and I'm going to meet 200 or 300 of my subscribers just on this one trip alone. And that's nice to match a face with an email address.
True. Actually, everyone knows your voice, but...
Right. No, but I don't know what, you know, sometimes I don't... It's upsetting to me that I don't have... I can't meet and know every person that I'm subscribed to, and I won't even remember most of these people a few weeks from now. So... Yeah.
Do you have the feeling that you have converted like this traditional investor into crypto? Do you have that I mean...
I think a lot of my subscribers are under age 40 and were never invested in the stock market. It's just not something they were paying attention to. And this cryptocurrency phenomenon has spread like wildfire, you know, among the 100 million or so people that are following it. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Bitcoin first. Ah, there's a dove. We call him Lenny Gravitz.
Right.
Let's talk about Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is picking up a little bit. I mean, we are in bearish times. How do you see the Bitcoin evolve?
I recommended Bitcoin exactly a year ago. It was July 3rd, 2017. Bitcoin was trading at 2570 at the time. And I put out a $50,000 target for 2020. And nothing has changed in my view. You have a situation here where there is $200 billion around the world tied up in stocks, cash, bonds, and gold. All 4 of them are overvalued. And if 2% of that money ends up in crypto, you'd be looking at a $4 trillion valuation. And that would be 16 times where we are today. If Bitcoin holds on to its 40% market share, it would put the price at $100,000. And that would be my target 5 years from now. I see a 40 to 60% chance of that happening. And that's a 5-year target. Looking out 2 years, I think $25,000 to $50,000 is possible. But there are no guarantees in investing. This is a commodity. It will sink or swim based on supply and demand, consumer confidence, and news headlines. And, you know, if Coinbase gets hacked tomorrow, and if Binance gets hacked 2 days later, guess what? Bitcoin is not going to be at $20,000. It might not be at $2,000. So people should not take a bet that they can't afford to lose. In life, you miss every shot that you don't take. I think this is a shot that's worth taking. And I always ask people, what would be more painful to you? To lose a few $1,000s? Or to watch this from the sidelines and find out that my target ended up happening? And I think it's more painful to watch something go up and not be in it than it is to lose a bet that you take.
You mentioned the word commodity. You actually said in your talk it will be like a store of value or digital gold. I mean, you made a comparison to gold, actually.
Right. So. Yeah. Well, my argument is that I don't think gold should have a valuation that's 50 times where Bitcoin is right now. I don't know how much gold there is in the ground. How can I value something like that? When I look at Bitcoin, I'm looking at a capped supply and a situation where in a couple of years there may be 100 or 200 million people around the world trying to get their hands on a few million Bitcoin. What is that going to do to the price? It will be like a short squeeze.
Mm-hmm. Of course, there is some criticism from obviously the camp of Bitcoin Cash, like the development of Bitcoin is lagging. This Lightning network is not. I mean, do you see Bitcoin as a currency, as a way to pay actually, or I mean?
I personally am not looking to buy a cup of Starbucks coffee with my Bitcoin. My Bitcoin is in a vault, it's locked up, and I'm holding on to it. And I'm not selling any of it anytime soon. There is room here for a dozen names. There's 1,500 names right now. Most of them are garbage. They're worthless. But there is room here for a half a dozen or a dozen names. One of them will be for security and confidentiality. Another one will have a niche with the cost per transaction. Another one will be faster than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will have its place here. And with a supply that is so low, I don't need people to embrace it as a means of paying for goods and services. I have 2,800 subscribers right now. I would say 20% of them have paid for my service with Bitcoin because it's a high ticket item and people don't care if it costs them $20 to pay for a subscription that costs $50 or $100 a month. All right, if they're paying $20 on a $1,000 subscription or a $500 service that I have, it's not a high percentage of what the ticket price is. But they're not going to pay $20 to buy something with a $40 price tag. So there isn't going to be a one name solution here. This is going to be an industry, and there will be several players involved. When you go downstairs to the shop, you see a MasterCard sticker, American Express, and Visa. A few years from now, you're also going to see stickers for Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, or one of those other names on the top 20.
And in your ideal portfolio, there should be some Bitcoin, actually. I
think that Bitcoin probably is something that you want to put 40 to 60% of your crypto money into. Yeah, and then you would split up whatever is left across a dozen or 2 dozen names that are in the top 100.
If you look at, of course, you do reports on several altcoins. The last you did is Dignity. Maybe you can tell why are you quite bullish on Dignity. Actually, you said this week my price target is $70. At the moment, it's 16 cents.
Yes.
So.
Well, I wrote a 35-page report on this name about a year ago. It is a unique situation. It is up now 600% since my recommendation on the 8th of February 2018, and the market is down 50% during that time. And you have to ask yourself, why is this going in the opposite direction? And it's because it's a unique situation. Every one of the DIG coins will be backed by $1 in bullion, in gold. And on top of that, you're going to have a share in the mining rig revenues. By this time next year, they will probably have around 75,000 mining rigs up and running across 4 different facilities, 2 in Canada, 1 in Texas, 1 in Atlanta, Georgia. I actually inspected the facility in Atlanta on the 6th of June, and I posted 18 photographs on Instagram.
And they bought it at a good price, Bitcoin.
Yes, they benefited from the fact that the Bitcoin price was down by 70%. When the price of Bitcoin goes down, you have a lot of negotiating leverage when you buy thousands of mining rigs because the demand goes down. So you are able to get discounted prices of 25, 50, in some cases 75% on a mining rig. And when you're buying tens of thousands of rigs, that's a big deal. So if you bought mining rigs at the top of the market in January, it may have taken you 12 to 18 months to get a return on your investment. The DIG mining rigs are going to get a return on their investment within 3 or 4 months.
And maybe you can tell, I mean, the whole concept of the backing up by the dollar, by gold actually, I understand the metrics, but maybe you can tell the concept in a few sentences. Why makes this concept so strong? I mean, it's
because you have a coin that actually has an underlying concrete value. All right, you have a coin that isn't backed by gold. I have a coin that's worth $1. So all else being equal, you have to put a premium on something like that. And if it's trading right now below what the amount of gold is that's backing it, then there's an arbitrage opportunity here. The reason it's trading below $1 right now is because a lot of people don't believe this is really happening. But they do have a press conference coming up from Bermuda on Wednesday. I don't know whether they will be talking about this in Bermuda or not. But they will be talking about it in the near future. And once they come out and show you the bullion and how it is being secured and how it is being audited, the price will move towards that floor price.
And how is it actually regulated by U.S. authorities, or is it outside U.S. authorities?
Right now, their lawyers are working in many countries at the same time, trying to see where they can get clearance and where they can't get clearance. The headquarters for Arbitrade will be in Bermuda, though, and they will make announcements in the next few weeks and in the next few months regarding other countries that they will be operating in.
And on the long, I mean, for me, for a private investor, maybe it's good to know what are your decisive factors. What are actually the underlying decisive factors in choosing a coin or an altcoin? Is it the team, the technology, or
Right.
I mean the metrics?
Yeah,
I mean,
well, what happens is when I put out stock recommendations, and I've put out more than 600 stock recommendations in the last 10 years, the ideas are generated by a 155 variable computer model that took me 5 years to develop back in the 1990s. Once I get an idea off the computer model, I apply heavy fundamental and subjective overlays before going out with an actual recommendation. So I don't say I like this name because it scored well on my computer model. I'm giving you a 20, 30 page report to back it up. With cryptocurrency, it's a little bit different. My computer model does not work with cryptocurrency. So I have a different approach. I have 46,000 followers on Twitter, and a lot of people following me on other channels. And a day doesn't go by that people don't give me an idea. Have you checked out this coin or that coin? And what happens is during, as the months and weeks go by, I will take notice that, okay, 5, 10, 15, 20 people already mentioned this coin to me, and I know some of these people, and they're a lot smarter than I am. I maybe need to take a closer look at this name. And then I'll do my digging, I'll do my work, and then I'll make a judgment call. If I like it, I'll put out a 20, 30 page report on it. I started with crypto a year ago, and I've already put out 19 recommendations. Most of them are in the top 100 on CoinMarketCap.
Actually, change. Maybe you can move a little bit to this because of the. I mean, actually, you said was very open. You said normally my reputation is at stake. Normally, with the stock recommendation, I don't actually invest in these stocks. With crypto, it's different, and you're quite transparent about it. So actually, the stocks you recommend or the crypto you recommend, you also invest in.
Every one of the crypto recommendations that I've made, I have money in my own portfolio. With the stock market, I never put any money in the stock market because I didn't want people to accuse me of pumping and dumping names that were in my own portfolio. But that all changed a year ago when I found out about crypto. I said, this is an opportunity. I need to start worrying about my own retirement. And I let people know that when I make a recommendation, it's something that I like and it's something that is in my own portfolio. But most of the names, as you know, that I've recommended are large names. So these are not like, penny names that I'm able to move with a recommendation of mine. So, most of the names I've recommended are in the top 20. Many of them are, yeah. I would say half of the 19 names that I put out are in the top 30, yeah.
Right, and just a few more questions. One of the interesting things you also said about the exit strategy, yeah? Actually, you said you just have to sell 10% in steps. Maybe you can tell something about the exit strategy.
Yeah, in the stock market, we have a saying, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. And a lot of times a name will run up, but it will drop just as quickly. And it's impossible to pick tops and bottoms. So when something's running up, you want to sell a little bit. Every time it moves 10, 15%, you sell a little bit. And then, but you also have to make sure that you leave 20, 30% just in case it shoots past where you think it's going. You don't want to shoot all your bullets. You want to leave something in the bank just in case it goes much higher after you exit. And everybody just has to decide what their goal is and how it fits into their portfolio and their investment strategy. Some people like taking risks, some people don't like taking risk, and everybody has to just decide for themselves. But in general, the rule is to remain diversified, not to take a bet that you can't afford to lose, and don't get greedy. All right. People held on to Bitcoin when it hit 20,000. They could have bought it back at 6,000.
And actually, do you have actually active traded fund, or are you more of a hodler? I mean, how would you describe yourself?
I buy and hold, but you would be foolish not to take some money off the table when the market ran up to $800 billion in January. If you made 6, 7, 800% on Cardano or Stellar, you would be foolish not to.
You did?
Yes. Yeah, my subscribers were up 6, 7, 800% on some of those recommendations in January. And I said, you could take 20, 30% off the table, get out what you put in, and the rest is house money. You could hold on to it for a few years and see what happens. So I usually tell people to hold, 50 to 75% of their money and lock it up. And then you could trade with 25%. When the relative strength of Bitcoin hits 80, you should take money off the table. When it drops below 20, which is where it is right now, you should add to your position.
You're talking about the RSI indicator.
Relative strength on Bitcoin dropped below 20 12 times in the last 6 years.
Is it now below 20? Or?
Yes, 12 times in 6 years. And guess what? Every time that happened, you could have bought it and sold at 80 a short time later. The risk in doing that is one time you can sell at 80 and it can run away from you. So you have to be careful not to sell your entire position. You have to sell, but you should sell some when it hits 80. That's usually a sign that the market is overreacting in the near term. And
for you,
if it drops below 20, that's usually an overreaction to bad news that you should be buying. Yeah.
It's quite interesting that this RSI is actually your most decisive indicator.
It is a contrarian indicator. When everybody's buying, you sell. When everybody is selling, you buy.
Actually, just a few words about your charity work. Did you actually made crypto? Did crypto made you do it this or did you already do some charity work? Home for the Poor.
I've always been. I've been in 75 countries around the world, and you would have to have ice going through your veins not to see the conditions that people in this world are living in. There's, 10% of the world population lives on less than $3 a day right now. So, I do have another website, philanthropyandphilosophy.com. There are 24 charities there. I wrote a report on every one of those charities. You can click on any one of those charities there. find a few out of the 24 that strike a nerve with you and donate to them directly.
And actually, you're a traveler. Eh? What makes you want to travel and see the world? Actually, I mean, is it better than looking at charts?
I don't look at charts that much. My one of my passions in life is traveling, and my goal is to cover as much of the world by foot as I possibly can while I am still healthy enough to do so. That is when I feel most alive, is when I'm traveling. I go to the concierge at the hotel, I ask him for the map or ask her for the map, and I'll just bang out 15, 20 kilometers a day. And this is one of the nicest cities in the world to do that. Yeah.
What do you like about Amsterdam? I mean, it's the canals or the atmosphere, or I mean,
this is one of the only places in the world outside of Venice, maybe St. Petersburg and Moscow, where you have canals going in and out of every street, and you see apartment buildings that are from the 17th century. And it's refreshing. You get to see the way people used to live hundreds of years ago. And it's a great city for walking because everything is flat, and it's also the only place I think I've seen in the world outside of Copenhagen where most of the people commute with bicycles. And
but why walking? Actually, I mean,
I like walking. I just like walking and snapping pictures, and it's just one of
see more.
It's just one of my favorite things to do is just going to a different country and a different city and just seeing as much as I can.
You see more details when you walk.
Yeah, and you get to absorb everything. You know, I don't understand how people go to these cities like Barcelona or London or Amsterdam, and they go on those double-decker red buses and they zip through everything in 15 minutes, and then they tell you that they saw Amsterdam. When I go to a place like this, I want to walk in and out of every street that I see on the map, and that's what I do.
All right. You actually liked also the historic part, of course. The old historic part is, of course, also where the red light district is and all the coffee shops are. Or are you more also outside of the city center?
I cover everything. The last couple of days I was walking through the city center. Tomorrow I'm walking outside of the city center, and I have a 20-kilometer walking trail already mapped out for myself. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so if you see this guy walking in Amsterdam, you can ask him for some financial advice or not.
Right. Yeah, well, you're more than welcome to stop me on the street. I'll be here until the 28th of June.
All right. Thank you very much, Ronnie, and I also like your musical taste. I mean, Led Zeppelin,
Motorhead,
The
Cult,
AC/DC.
You guys missed a great Lenny Kravitz concert last night. I have 1,500 CDs in my music collection. I listen to everything. I also have been to like 200 concerts in my life. I've seen just about everyone.
So do you think Jimmy Page is the best singer in the world, or Jimmy Page, Robert Plant?
He's in the top 10. He's in the top 10. Yeah.
Perhaps Lemmy.
Yeah, Lenny Kravitz put on a great show yesterday. I also saw him in London 2 nights ago, and you guys have a fantastic venue here. The arena, it's a really beautiful arena you have.
Okay,
yeah.
Thanks.
Next time I come here, I want to go next door to the stadium and watch Ajax play.
All right, wow. And Lenny, can he actually maybe promote the coin, or did you ask him to?
I don't know him personally.
Oh, you don't know him personally?
No.
Okay.
I was joking when I put that tweet out the other day. That was a joke. I don't know him personally, but he has a song with the word "dig" in the name. So I was just teasing people that he played that song in concert, and I told him to play it to promote the coin. But that was a joke.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. All the best, and enjoy Amsterdam, of course.
Thank you.
All right.
So when can you convert that to a